All right, Kathy, are we recording?
Yes, we're recording.
Very good. All right, welcome Rotarians. Thank you to everyone who is attending via Zoom this afternoon. The purpose of today's event is for all of the clubs in District 5960 who are putting forth district grant proposals in this upcoming 2021 Rotary fiscal year to give a presentation about their grant project. Historically, we've done this in person so that the grant team mentors have the opportunity to learn about the various projects being put forth by the clubs. The reason being it's the grants team mentors that make the decision on how much district designated funds will be allocated to each of the projects. It's up to them to decide, and so it's an opportunity for those mentors to ask questions of the project, know about who to help. In that we've always invited.
You're breaking up. He's breaking up.
Yep. Brad, you were breaking up badly.
Yeah, badly. Couldn't hear you. Couldn't understand you.
We see you just fine.
You're on mute now, Brad. There you go.
I'm on. Okay, how's the audio now?
Good.
All right. So over time, this meeting has taken on additional meaning in that we have always invited
You're breaking up again.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
you know, I have a wired internet connection, and I have a new camera with a built-in microphone.
I don't think it's you, Brad. I think somebody else needs to mute their system.
Okay. Anyone who doesn't need to, why don't you mute your system? You can also stop video. Sometimes with the Zoom platform, if there are a lot of people participating and everyone has their video on, it just uses up too much, I guess, bandwidth or too much of the resources of Zoom. So maybe that's what it is. So if everyone could just click the stop video it's not working.
Can't hear you, Brad.
In the meantime, while Brad dials in, we'll keep going because, like always, when you're dealing with technology, you never know when something's going to go wrong. So we have this all scripted. So as Brad was saying, over time, this meeting has taken on extra meaning as it's a great opportunity for clubs to hear what each other are doing and to create funding partnerships. Hopefully, for those of you that are with any club, you'll be impressed by the ideas that the other clubs are doing and get some great ideas for future projects as well. Before we start, we'd like to introduce our grants mentors that are on the call today, and they're all here because they're supposed to be. But and I'm just pulling up who those are here because I don't want to miss anybody. But we'll come back to them. We have our district governor.
Kyle?
Hey, you're back.
I'm on the phone now,
but I do have
the list, so I can
go through and recognize all of the district grant team.
And mute it on your on the computer because we're getting a little bit of an echo coming through there behind you. So now it should work.
Am I muted?
Oh, now we can hear you. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, I'm getting a message that my speaker's not working. So hopefully that's me. Oh, and then now I've been muted by the host.
But we're good.
All right. So thanks for stepping in, Kyle.
You're welcome.
And so I just want to introduce the members of the grant team, the mentors who work with the clubs to perfect their projects and help them through the process. And so the mentors are Craig Leiser, who is District International Service Chair, then Jim Hunt, Rick Pratt, Judy O'Fallon, Paul Meekin, Al Drazil, Jeff Harnley, Dale Quigley, Larry Probst, Peg Dunow, Valdi Stephenson, and Guy Solinsky, although I didn't see him on the meeting. But those are the people that I want to personally thank for doing all the hard work of working with the clubs and helping them put their projects together. And we also have with us some of our future district governors on the call. And I'll hop back onto that list, but that one I don't really need the list for. We have District Governor-elect Ed Merrick. We have District Governor nominee Kenny Closter. And District Governor nominee designate Dale Quigley. So I did leave out one of the grants team members, and I did it on purpose because the script told me to do it. And I'd like to introduce her now to make a few comments. Please welcome our district grants team leader, Margie Horning from the Stillwater Sunrise Rotary Club. Margie?
Thanks a lot, Brad. I look forward today to hearing more about the grants that your clubs are proposing for the 2020-2021 year. In these unprecedented times, I applaud you for your courage to move forward with these grants with enthusiasm to help make more positive impact in your communities and in the world. My hope is that because the need for partners, as you can well imagine, is so very great, that I hope our clubs listening in will all be very gracious and contribute to many of the wonderful grants that we're going to be hearing about soon. Because as you know, together we can do so much more. So back to you, Brad.
Thank you, Margie. And thank you for your dedication to the grants team. We've put a lot of work into this and a lot of time. All of the clubs that are presenting today are asking for district designated funds to assist with their projects. District designated funds come from our contributions to the Rotary Foundation. And to tell us more about that is District Rotary Foundation team leader, Kyle Hagen. Kyle, go ahead.
Thanks, Brad. And thanks everybody for being here today. You may have heard me talk about this before, but answering the question, what do we do as Rotarians, can often be difficult because we do so many different things. When trying to sum it up, we've talked quite a bit over the last year that it's all about creating positive peace. Positive peace isn't simply the absence of war and conflict, but the fulfillment of all needs in a society so it can be a fair and just place. When you think about all the different things Rotarians do in their communities and around the world, isn't it creating positive peace? And the Rotary Foundation helps us maximize that peace that we aim to create. You're going to hear 16 great examples over the next hour or so about how Rotary clubs here in our district are creating positive peace in different ways. And I'm proud that those efforts will be maximized since they're requesting grants from the Rotary Foundation. As you're probably aware, a portion of the funds we all contribute to the Rotary Foundation's annual fund come back to us to use in providing matching grants. So, in essence, these 16 projects are showcasing how our donations are being spent to make a positive impact in the lives of others. To all of you that are presenting today, thank you for your efforts in making a difference. For everyone who has contributed to the Rotary Foundation, you should be proud about how our donations are helping others. Now, that's how we're spending the money we've donated. Obviously, the more funds we contribute, the more positive peace we can create in the lives of others. The need for Rotarians doing good in the world continues to increase, so the need for donations is increasing as well. That's why we've implemented our district's push for $400,000 this month, in hoping that our 2019-20 annual fund giving reaches $400,000. Why is that amount important? It's not. But it sets a good goal because the more we raise, the more we will be able to spend on grants, like the examples you'll see today, to impact lives of people. We're changing lives when we give to the Rotary Foundation. So I'd ask you to think about two things today. First, please make sure you make a contribution to the Rotary Foundation this month, as you are going to help us push towards that $400,000, and you're creating positive peace with that donation. Second, think about how your club can partner with the clubs that are presenting today. Many of them are looking for clubs to help fund their grants, so your contributions from your clubs will help maximize the impact they will make as well. So thank you. Thank you to our grant sponsors and grant team members for your efforts in changing the lives of others. And thank you for everyone for your contributions to the Rotary Foundation, as you're creating positive peace with every dollar. Brad?
Thanks, Kyle. Now we're going to start with the project presentations. And we'll be going in alphabetical order by club name, with one exception. We did have one Rotarian who asked to present early due to calendar conflict. And so we're going to start out with Roseville Rotary Club's Ane Atamsa to present her project. Ane?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you all for rearranging my schedule. Sorry for that. I had to run to another meeting at 3 o'clock. Just bear with me. Let me save my time here. Okay, again, my name is Ane Atamsa. I am a mother of 2 teenagers. I have a boy and a girl. I moved to Minnesota 20 years ago. I attended Metro State University and got my bachelor degree in business administration and minor in human resource. Today, I'm here to present why we need to fund on solar light for a remote village in Oromia region of Ethiopia. I'm gonna share my screen here. As you know, solar-powered light solutions are specifically designed for people living without regular access to electricity. According to the World Bank, close to 1 billion people worldwide are still living without electricity, and many of these people still use harmful kerosene lamps to light their homes. In addition, in Ethiopia, they also use wood fire to light their homes too. The current status for the location that I'm presenting today, the name called Falle Crofta and Challia is located on the north and west part of Oromia region of Ethiopia. It is a beautiful rural village with a population of about estimation of 1,000 people. In rainy season, people must walk for hours by foot to get to the village from the small town called Garbaguracha and Gedo. Farmers in this village use kerosene, woods, lamps, and candles to light their homes. All of them are inefficient, expensive, and contribute to the environmental degradation and hazardous to their health. A student in this rural area walk for hours to get to the school too. It gets dark when they get back to home. They depend on kerosene lamp, candles, or wood firelight to study and do their homework. Farmers also walk for miles to the small towns to charge their phone. So the benefit of the solar light lamp. First, children can study at night and prepare themselves for a bright future. Another one that I noticed, people in the village can also access information through radio and their cell phone. And the other one, the general benefit of solar light impact, social, economical, and environmental. When we say social, indoor air pollution, inside strain, fire risk, all of this will be reduced. The economic side of the benefit will be saving on kerosene and charger. They can save so much money they are spending right now. The environmentalists can reduce harmful greenhouse gas emission, shrinks the carbon footprint, and doesn't put a strain on water resource and plants on the area. So this is the benefit. I just want to try to make it very short. And the solar light, the bulb is what it looks like. I just want to show you that I got from 3 companies that actually selling the solar bulb. One looks like this one, the company called D-Light. And as you see, they have all kind of benefit. The battery up to 20 hours full charge, separate solar panel, including brightness, 20 times. And the other ones, that my time is up and looks like this one and also this one. So I am done here. Thank you very much for the opportunity you gave me to present this life-saving project. So with your donation, we can give this village a bright future. Thank you again.
Thank you, Anne. Just for some of the details, I am going to read off, and let me say that if anyone has a question about any of the projects, go ahead and send me a chat message, and I can ask the presenter the question. But looking at sort of the specifics here, we have a total budget for this project of $6,500. The sponsoring club, Roseville Rotary, is putting $1,500 toward the project, hoping for partner matches from District 5960 clubs of $1,750 and requesting DDF from the district of $3,250. Is that correct, Anne?
Correct.
Good. And if anyone wants to reach out to Anne for any details about the project or to offer to financially support that, her email address is, go ahead and tell us.
Anne, AANNEAJ @gmail.com.
And we will be sending out a list, a master list of contact information for each of the presenters at the end of this meeting, so that everyone who is involved will be able to reach out to whomever they want to discuss projects with. Thank you very much, Anne.
Thank you very much. If there's any question, I'm here to respond. Thank you for the opportunity again.
Right, hold on just a moment and I'll take a look at my chats and see who has questions for you. I do not see in my chat any specific questions. So thank you very much, Anne.
Thank you very much. I will stay for about 10 minutes and leave.
Thank you for joining us. I want to thank all the sponsors, all of the club presenters at the outset here for your hard work and your dedication in putting together these projects and these grant applications. Really, the good work that Rotary does is done at the club level, and it's you who are willing to put your time and effort into making Rotary International, our district, and your clubs, you know, the clubs, the vibrant clubs that we have in this district, and it's because of your efforts that we're able to do good in the world. So I'm going to go back into the guidelines now that I've gotten Annie done, so that she can move on to her other meeting. Each club is going to have 4 minutes to summarize the project. You heard the timer go off at the end of Annie's presentation, and you'll hear that for each of you when you get to that 4 minutes. We ask that you highlight what you're doing, who it will impact, and the financial details, such as the total budget, how much your club is contributing, how much you're looking for in partner sponsors, and how much you're looking for in district designated funds. And after that 4 minutes, there will be a minute or so, depending on the number of questions, for a question and answer session. So if you have any questions, please send in a chat message to me your question, and I will read it off, and the presenter will answer. Funding partnerships. If you have a project and it's a larger amount and your club is looking for other clubs to help financially, those funding partnerships help maximize the impact of these projects. Obviously, the bigger the project, the more good that it does, but the bigger the project, the more money that's needed to fund it. And so we encourage large projects to do good. And so what we've asked is that all clubs share how much they're looking for from other clubs and share their contact information so other clubs can reach out to help. During each of the presentations, we'll put the contact information for the main grant sponsor in the chat box. We'll also send out that master list at the end to all the attendees. We encourage each of you to reach out to clubs if you're interested in helping to fund their project. And if you are the project sponsor and you're looking for partners, we encourage you to reach out to Rotarians that you know in other clubs, and potentially you can go visit and perhaps during Happy Dollars give a presentation and an ask at other clubs' meetings. One other note, you'll see that the Red Wing Club and the Roseville Club each have 2 project proposals on the list today. The reason for that is because those 2 clubs were unable to complete their projects that were approved as proposals in last Rotary year. And because of that, we reached out and we asked them if they'd be willing to put it off until this year so that we could use the funds that were earmarked for their proposals last year for our COVID-19 related projects at the district level. And since they agreed to do so, we agreed to let them bring those proposals back this year. Normally, it's very difficult for a club to ask for funding for 2 district grant proposals in the same year, but we're making an exception because those were already approved last year, but then we found other use for the funds that were earmarked for that. So with that, we will go through the list now in alphabetical order by club, and District Rotary Foundation team lead Kyle Hagen will be posting in the chat box the next 2 clubs that will be coming up so that they know who's on deck, who's in the hole, so that they're ready to go. Coming up next, Arden Hills Shoreview Rotary, Stephanie Cosgrove. Stephanie, go ahead and take it away.
Hello, thank you. Can you all hear me?
We hear you fine.
Yes.
Thank you. And I also noticed that Mike Spellman is on the call as well, and he is our president-elect. And so, Mike, I would just invite you that if you have anything to add or if you can help answer any of the questions that may come up, feel free to do so. So our club is looking to acquire a district grant, and we are focusing on 3 main areas that address human trafficking and healthy youth. And as you know, the state of Minnesota is focusing, the Rotary is focusing on human trafficking. So our first area that we would like to make an impact is in the Mounds View School District, in the middle schools and high school. And the reason for that is because there is a lot of great work going on in the state that addresses and helps the victims. But we noticed that we did not see a lot of impact to date in prevention and helping the target audience. And the target audience is 14 to 18-year-olds. And so we located a organization called Love 146 that offers excellent curriculum on prevention, safety, mental health, all around the umbrella of human trafficking. The reason we picked this organization is because this curriculum has not been really offered in the schools so far. This is a national organization. The curriculum is 5 hours, ideally taught in health class. This curriculum is sanctioned by the Minnesota Department of Health, as well as the Twin Cities YMCA. So we feel like that gives it credible backing, and it's one of the few curriculums that has an evaluation process built in so that they can start to show that this curriculum does make an impact. We've already been had conversations at the Mounds View School District, and they are very in favor of moving forward with this. In addition to that, we would like to offer this same curriculum to the Quincy House, which is in the Mounds View School District, and they are very connected to the schools as well. And they offer support, education, life skills, mentoring, etc. for those teens that are at risk, meaning they need a safe place to go, they may be homeless, etc. So it helps address them. So we would like to offer the curriculum there, as well as 5 meals. They look for volunteers to provide meals, and since this is a 5-hour curriculum, we would like to offer that in 5 sessions. And so during the time that that curriculum is being taught, they will have a healthy meal as well. And then third, we would like to use district grant money for creating a community forum that helps build community awareness on this topic. And we would look to partner with other communities like New Brighton, Roseville, Circle Pines, Lexington, Lino Lakes, etc. And so that is basically what we are hoping to do. And I can give you a little bit more detail, I have time, on the curriculum. So another great part of this curriculum and what makes it unique is that their model is they want to certify the teachers, and that's what the money would go toward. And so when teachers get certified in the middle school and high schools, then they can teach this year after year. And then there's not the cost. Other companies that we looked at charge every time the course is taught, and that cost model is really not favorable for a lot of the school districts. So we feel like this will make a big impact. Another benefit that I'll add is that we looked at other companies that offer education awareness in the evenings or weekends, but in doing so, you're impacting a very small group. And it's hard to get teenagers, to do that when they're so busy with other things. And then, so another part of this that's really exciting for us is that it would be actually offered during the school day, where you're going to impact the most number of teens. So
Okay.
that's what I have, yes.
And I'm looking at what I have in writing here. The total budget for your project is $6,000.
Yes, and our club would match, so we would contribute $3,000 and would look for a district grant of $3,000. So the total is $6,000. Now I say that, but as I'm sharing this information and of those who are on the call, we would also hope that this curriculum can even spread to other school districts, not just the Mounds View. And so if anyone is interested in learning more about this, that would be fantastic.
Wonderful. And I'm going to check my chat messages to see if there are any questions. And I don't see any questions. There's a lot of encouragement, good work, excellent job, Stephanie, but no questions. So thank you very much for your presentation. Very good work. Coming up next, Austin Rotary Club and Mike Posma.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Let me go ahead and share my screen quickly. Welcome to beautiful Austin, Minnesota, down in the southeast corner of the state. We are a city of about 25,000 people, and our Rotary Club is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, which we are very excited about. When we did a little talking as a club about what should we do to celebrate it, we wanted to do something to note this, and coincidentally enough, last summer, we had some of our local citizens who came to us to talk about Rotary Park. So I'm going to give you a quick tour about Rotary Park and show you what we're hoping to do there. As you can see, we got a nice new sign that the city put up with the name Rotary Park and the logo on there. This is one of the main attractions of Rotary Park, which is a large basketball hoop area. It's got 2 full courts on it. And we have a lot of folks who use this court. What's interesting about Austin is we've kind of gone through a bit of a population renaissance over the last 30 years. If you would have visited Austin in the early 90s, you would have found a town that's about 98% white. If you go into the Austin public schools right now, you will find that the incoming classes in the elementary schools are over 50% minority. It's a pretty drastic change that we've seen in town over the last 30 years. There's been some bumps along the road, but there's also been more, honestly, goodwill. We have a welcome center that helps welcome some of these immigrant and refugee populations to town. A lot of them are here, like all of us, to have families and to work important jobs. We have Hormel Foods is a major employer in our area. The other thing that's really unique about our diversity is where some cities may get 1 or 2 major populations, we have folks from all over the world. We have folks from Burma, I think there's 12 different countries from the African continent in our area. Austin Public Schools tells us that there are 46 native languages spoken at the homes of their students. And so we're really a huge melting pot. And what brings those folks together are sports. You've seen it in our high school. Our sports teams have had some notoriety. And basketball and soccer being the top 2. If you're a Minnesota Gophers basketball fan, you might have noted with some excitement this week that Booth Gotch is one of our native graduates here. He has decided to play for the University of Minnesota this upcoming year with the hopes of being in the NBA very soon. And so we wanted to do something to support the communities that are using this park for all of the recreation, because it does bring them together. So when you see our basketball courts here, you'll notice there are no amenities. It is a concrete slab with some hoops. And the community came to us and said, we want to be able to run tournaments, we want to have parties, we want to do all sorts of things here. Can you help us with some bleacher seating, with some lights so that we can play a little bit longer in the evenings, especially in the fall? We also have a restroom here that has no lights because there's no electricity in the park, and so we are looking to run lights there, as well as our gazebos with plugs so that people can bring, kids can charge their phones, they can do potlucks, a lot of different things. There's another shot of our park. So what that looks like, this is our budget. We're installing poles with LED floodlights. We've got concrete bases, wiring to the bathroom. It costs a little more to wire because it is in a floodplain. We have a 40-person bleacher and cement pad. All of that comes up to just over $20,000. This is our first district grant that our club has gone for in a long time. So after Kyle and Margie explained how district grants work, and then explained about 3 or 4 more times because it took me a while, we really started to understand the power of the matching grants. And so with our budget, we were invited to do the Shark Tank a couple weeks ago. We really want to thank those clubs who are willing to sponsor our projects without really knowing a whole lot about us to begin with. And then we've also been reaching out. We've got some partnerships. So we still need about $3,500, and we are willing to do funding partnerships, I believe Kyle called it, with other clubs to help us all be able to access the most district dollars. And so that
Wonderful.
is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And so total requested district designated funds for this project is $10,030. You are currently looking for about $3,500 more in partnership funding, correct?
Yeah, and so if you or your club are interested, you have my email information. Honestly, you are welcome to hop in the chat, slide into my DMs, and we can talk. Our board has sort of already pre-authorized us to seek out some funding partnerships, and so for some other great projects out there, we're happy to partner.
Thank you so much, Mike. And I don't see any questions in my chat inbox. So we're going to move on to Barron County Sunrise Rotary Club and Monica.
Actually, Mark Berger is going to be presenting.
Thank you. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, I am here. Here we go. So, good afternoon, District Grant Committee and the 5960 Rotarians. I am Mark Berger from the Barron County Sunrise Rotary Club, and excited and honored to be able to share a summary of our project, the Anderson Park Playground. To start with, our club was made aware of a great project going on in Barron, Wisconsin, sponsored by the Barron Kiwanis. They've been raising funds to build the only inclusive and accessible outdoor playground in northwestern Wisconsin. Currently, the equipment in the park is over 50 years of age, unsafe, and clearly not accessible to many. I remember that old merry-go-round. I can't remember how many times I fell off or threw up on that one. Our Rotary Club decided to support their Kiwanis Club and kick that old tire to the curb. Here's the story. 2 years ago, the Barron Kiwanis was made aware of the need for an all-inclusive and accessible playground. As I mentioned, there weren't any in the area. This playground does not have barriers at the entrance or along the pathways. Remember, accessibility isn't just for wheelchairs, although that's the most obvious barrier that comes to mind. Other accessible features include the green areas that are made of special material, making it easier to move around. There'll be equipment with backing for those with little core support. Equipment for those with the inability to use hands or feet. And areas and equipment for those needing different sensory experiences, such as music or sound, or a roller-based slide to feel the movement going down the slide. Some equipment is at ground level with multiple ways to use or grasp. There are ramping options that lead to upper decks and support for individuals who are nonverbal. One of the biggest focal points of the design was adult inclusion. You know, it's not uncommon for an adult or parent to have a physical impairment that prevents them from enjoying a playground. Parents may want to play with their kids rather than sit on the sidelines. The Anderson Park Playground encourages all generations to play. The Barron Kiwanis partnered with local children from the Boys and Girls Club to get input on what equipment they might enjoy. Our club was so impressed with this project. Both clubs value diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we had to cross the club lines and help them get to the finish line. Here's the deal. The Barron Kiwanis Club is located in a very small rural town of about 3,400 people with urban demographics. 20% of the children are English language learners. Over 50% of the children qualify for free and reduced lunch, and 20% have some type of special needs. That's 1 in 5 children. They had a goal of raising $365,000 to build this unique playground. It's a lot of money for a tiny town. On their own, they raised $215,000. The city of Barron has pledged $125,000, leaving a shortfall of $25,000. This is an opportunity for our district clubs to reach outside of Rotary and support an incredible project. Our visions match. So let's get down to business. Here are the overall numbers required in this project. I just mentioned the overall project numbers and our goal of raising $25,000. We've earmarked specific pieces of equipment we want to sponsor in the lower left corner. And here's the breakdown of the Rotary Club money that we've raised so far. Barron County Sunrise Rotary, the Shark Tank with the 4 clubs involved, other Rotary contributions, the Rice Lake Rotary Club, Rice Lake Rotary Foundation, the Hayward Club, and the Austin, Minnesota. We're currently sitting at $10,900 with a potential match from the district. We're still a little short of about $1,100 to get the full max from the district at 12. So Barron County we can't thank the district and individual clubs enough that have stepped up so far to make this Northwestern project a success. If we were to see a possible match, we still have some opportunity for other clubs to step in. We can guarantee you 100% satisfaction of your club's dollars and smiles, but we can also guarantee you 100% satisfaction in partnership. Thanks, everybody. Any questions?
I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Mark. Looks like there are not any questions. A lot of people have noted in the chat box that they're a fan of the collaboration between the various service clubs, and that was a very nice presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up next is Blaine Ham Lake Rotary. And Lynn, go ahead.
Great, thanks very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Lynn Stepanek. I'm the president-elect for the Blaine Ham Lake Club. And this year, our club decided we would donate we were going to devote all of our fundraising efforts, whether it was a Rotary grant, our annual golf tournament, or other donations, to feeding people in our community. And so what I want to talk about today for this potential grant is the Sheridan story. And I'm not sure if all of you have heard of that, but they've been around for probably about 78 years. Prior to COVID-19, they packed about 7,000 meals per week. And what they did was supplement kids on the weekend, holiday breaks like in December or spring break, and also during the summer as well, when kids are no longer in school. Since the advent of COVID-19, their need for meals has grown exponentially. It's grown readily to 75,000, 80, 90. They are now up to more than 100,000 meals per week, primarily in addition to the COVID-19, but also due to many grocery stores in South Minneapolis were damaged or looted during the protest for George Floyd's death. And so even stores like Target and Cub have been damaged and are not yet open, as are many smaller grocery stores. So what we're looking for with this particular grant is, and in talking to the Sheridan story, any money that we're able to give them would be used just to purchase food. They buy their food from Second Harvest Heartland and the Food Group 2. And for those of you that are beer drinkers, second, our Dangerous Man Surly Breweries has donated a lot of fresh produce to the Sheridan story. For every $100 that they receive, they can feed 25 kids. They have dietitians on staff to make sure that meals are always nutritious. And the other thing they do that is unique is they pack some very specific meals based on kids' cultural needs. So there are different types of meals for kids of Hispanic, Southeast Asian, and East African origins. So what we are looking for is a $3,000 grant that the Blaine Ham Lake Club will donate also $3,000 as well. So we would have $6,000 to donate to the Sheridan story. There's also many opportunities for Rotarians to volunteer on this as well, both for packing food and to helping distribute food.
Thank you, Lynn. There's a question that says, what geographic area will be served by this project? Which school districts?
For our particular ask for this, it would be the Anoka-Hennepin School District. But currently, the Sheridan story is involved with 31 school districts in Minnesota and Wisconsin, but any money that we would actually be able to donate, we'd ask to come back to our community at Anoka-Hennepin.
Thank you very much, Lynn. That was the only question, and so we will move on to Lake Elmo Rotary Club. Teddy, go ahead and give your presentation. Teddy Carlson? Kathy, do you know if Teddy Carlson is on?
Teddy is on, but Teddy, you're muted. Okay.
Muted still.
Teddy, on mute.
Okay.
Perfect. We can hear you.
You can hear me now? Okay, great. Well, thank you, everyone. And now that I'm bona fide and audible, I'm from Lake Elmo. My name is Teddy Carlson. And the Lake Elmo Rotary wanting to supply a scholarship for a facility in Forest Lake, Minnesota. It's called Acres for Life. And it is a equine-assisted psychotherapy facility. And that is a form of psychotherapy that incorporates a mental health professional, an equine specialist, and horses. And this therapeutic approach assists clients in reconnecting with their emotions and owning their own feelings. It's in a safe environment, and clients are provided an opportunity to step into an experience that will help facilitate their ability to see their behaviors and how these behaviors affect other people. Acres for Life, which is a facility, has been in operation for over 19 years. It's never turned anyone away for need of help due to financial struggle. They do accept some insurance, however, insurance does not reimburse the full amount. Therefore, the financial gap that Acres for Life has to fill is the financial gap that the insurance cover. They supply, they ask for scholarships from various communities and various organizations, which is what we want to do. And these scholarships provide funding to help support those who are in financial need, such as youth, military, in general. They provide an essential experimental psychotherapy service for individuals and families who are working through mental health related struggles such as addiction, PTSD, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and many more. They are the premier provider of AGALA, which is Equine Assisted Growth and Learning Association model in the world. This model is a global standard for providing on-the-ground psychotherapy. And licensed therapists alongside equine professionals incorporate the horse's innate awareness along with the power of nature to provide an environment of transformational healing for their clients. A similar program is even featured on CBS at how important the horses were to these people. Horses are intelligent social animals. They pick up on your feelings. They sense where you're at. Patients said they have forgotten what was said to them at the therapeutic desk. However, they will never forget how they felt about the horse and how the horse felt about them. Children had said, some of the children in the program had said they felt put on, and but they would never want their horse to feel that same way. Last year, Acres for Life facilitated 2,300 sessions. And when COVID-19 hit, Acres for Life supported a gala by leading and participating in global support calls and training all over the world. And due to this type of therapy, primarily facilitated outside in pastures rather than in a closed room, they anticipate this type of growth. They anticipate growth in their helping during this pandemic as mental health issues arise. So, the Lake Harbor Rotary Club will donate $1,250 towards a scholarship, and we're asking for the district to donate a similar amount. Thank you for listening. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Teddy, for your presentation and for summarizing the finances at the end there. That's always very helpful. I'm looking at the chat inbox. I don't see any questions. I'm going to give it a little extra time, though, because I know that Al Drazil had a question after the last presentation, but it came in after I moved on. And so, Al, I'd invite you to send an email to Lynn from the last presentation with your question. And so I don't see any questions coming in. So thank you very much, Teddy. Coming up next, North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale Rotary Club, Joe Miller. Go ahead, Joe.
Working on Rotary Park now for 7 years, and this is the final step in getting some signage up so people know what's there. Sean Berry is going to assist me by running a virtual walk through the park so everyone can see what we have. Sean?
Good day. This is a virtual tour of Rotary Park in North St. Paul, something that Rotary has been working on now for 7 years, and we're building it out. This first part here is our rain garden. We as a club maintain the rain garden ongoing, and with the help of the state who come out and offer suggestions, we make changes as needed. Now we're walking along the sidewalk next to our 31-car parking lot, and we're going to take a little walk up to the shelters that have been installed. We have 2 shelters. Each has 2 picnic tables with it. And in back of the shelters, we have a sitting area where people can just rest in the park and enjoy the weather. There's great shade trees that have been here for many years. Now we're walking to the second shelter. As you can see, someone has taken the liberty of shifting tables around. We have 1 table in the first shelter, and we have 3 in the second. Again, off the back of the shelter, we have a sitting area, which is really neat. It overlooks a watershed area, and we have a lot of wildlife that come in to set in this area. Ducks and geese. It's located between the windmill in North St. Paul and Highway 36 in North St. Paul. Now we're going to take a walk down towards our other structures. Again, you can notice along the way we've placed park benches to allow people to sit down and enjoy the weather, the sun, whatever's out that day. We also have a security system in the park which helps cut down on vandalism. I say cut down because it's almost impossible to stop. As we're approaching here, you can see what we've used for the last 7+ years is a porta potty. And the last 3 years we've been working on and have built a restroom facility, which was just completed this month. And it is a very nice facility. It offers both genders facilities, men and women. In addition, we have a drinking fountain. We also have 3 flagpoles, one with the United States, one with the state of Minnesota, and one with a Rotary flag. And there's 2 benches sitting in this area. You'll see where there's a stake set up, and we have a monument that will be going in place as soon as the balance of this cement work gets corrected. And I say corrected because of the fact we had cement work here, but being with the work going on, it was broken up with the heavy equipment that was coming and going. So that's just a little tour, and I think when we started, we weren't sure we had the perfect site, but we're definitely happy with what the outcome has been, and it gets used every day and almost every day through the winter also, and people come out just to take a break here. And it's a wonderful setting. It's sitting on roughly around 4 acres of land, which is owned by 3 entities: City of North St. Paul, the DNR, and MnDOT. And we have permits to use the site. That's pretty much it. And
thank you all for listening. One of the things I mentioned is our monument will go in just as soon as the concrete work's done. We also have a bike repair station that will be set. That new concrete you noticed alongside the restroom, that bike repair rack will go in there. And then we have a mini library that's also going in up by the shelters. Right now we have interest from Gateway Trail Association and the DNR to help us with this project, yet they have not committed any stated amount to date. And as you could see as we walked through on the video, the park sits directly on the Gateway Trail. So there's a lot of use, and overall, the signage that we're asking for can vary from $7,000 up to $40,000 depending on the funding we can get. Our club is contributing $3,000. We're asking the district to provide $1,000, which is, as I understand, the maximum the district can provide for signage. We are looking for additional partners. If anyone is interested, we would definitely like to talk to you. And I thank you for your time today. Good day.
Thank you very much, Joe.
You're welcome.
I am not seeing any questions on your project.
Thanks to Sean also. He's the one that provided the video. I had trouble running it on my computer.
Yeah, tell Sean good work on that video. It was very helpful to see all the progress that's been made over there. I've run and bicycled past that park and always feel a sense of pride as a Rotarian to see what you've done there on the Gateway Trail.
Good.
Up next, Prior Lake Rotary Club, Mary Hagen. Take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to start sharing my screen right away to give you some information about a wheelchair e-assist trike and trailer that we want to purchase for Marilyn's Toucan. So hopefully this works.
You're good.
I'm sharing.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Again, we had a presentation from Kathy Halbrecht at our Rotary Club, and she has a nonprofit called Marilyn's Toucan. Hang on here a minute. There we go. Her mom was actually a polio survivor. Her mom got contracted polio at age 19, and her paralysis never let her stop doing what she wanted to do. She raised a family, even though she was told she shouldn't have kids. They were a very active family. Her father was a longtime Rotarian. Kathy herself is an artist, a Dairy Queen owner, and just a bundle of energy. And she always wanted to keep her mom active, and her mom enjoyed that. But when her mom became so immobile that she could no longer get out and about, Kathy figured out how to give her mom bike rides by putting this bucket kind of thing on the front of a bike. Threw her mom in there, lifted mom's legs that she couldn't feel over it, and gave her a ride, and thought, well, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So what Kathy did is she figured out that there's another way you can do things, and that is, okay, it stopped sharing on me.
Yes, you're no longer sharing.
I'm working on it. Okay, we'll try it again. Am I sharing now?
Not yet.
Okay, we'll try it another way. How about now?
Nope.
It says I'm sharing. Share screen. You want to move on to the next one and I'll try to figure this out? It says I'm sharing, but it's not showing me that.
Sure. Yeah, we can move on to the next presentation and then we'll.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, come back to me. I'll get it figured out.
Up next, the first of two Red Wing district grant proposals, New Life in Higher Education, Phil McNary.
Thanks, Kyle. Can you all hear me and see me?
We can hear you, but oh, now we
There
can
we
see
go.
you.
I sympathize with you, Barry. I understand what technology can and can't do. This is a project that was proposed over a year ago, and we received a grant of $450 or $4,500 from the district. We have since gone on and looked for other partners, and I'm today talking to you in order to finish out what we need with some more partners. We've had a really good response from our local community in terms of our Red Wing Rotary, and also from the Mayo Clinic that have supported. Mayo Clinic obviously is not good for a match, so we need more money to come from Rotary clubs to have the match hold up. This began a couple of years ago when Kyle was governor, and 10 of us from southeastern Minnesota went to Israel on a cultural exchange trip. It gave us a real opportunity to live all over the state of Israel and to learn a great deal about the various different cultures that reside there. Part of the challenge, though, was that we were asked to look for some kind of an opportunity to share with them, recognizing that civilization really grows when different cultures learn and share together. With that in mind, we found ourselves at Yavne, Israel, which is about halfway between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And there we discovered a technical school that had been sort of supported and underwritten by the Red Wing Rotary, by the Yavne Rotary. It had initially started off as a warehouse for kids that couldn't seem to get along in the system. And I think Rotary saw that it really wasn't being very helpful to anybody. And so they went out and found organizations like Ormond Industries to financially support this project. And when they did, they turned it into a really lively technical high school that eventually evolved and is evolving into a two-year technical college. They are doing really great things in terms of internships, in terms of placement of students into viable business opportunities and whatnot. And we were excited about that. I went home and talked to Larry Lumblatt, who is the president of our Minnesota State College branch here in the Red Wing at Winona area. And he too got excited because he was very interested in what might happen with the Ormond Industries. And he also recognized the real benefit of being able to have his students know something more about what's going on in the Middle East and why, and all that kind of sociological stuff that is very important, I think, to technical education. About a year later, Uzi Rahman and his wife Amira came to visit us, as we had visited with them. And they are in the Rotary over in their town. And they decided that they would like to partner with Minnesota. And they presented to Larry and some of his people a proposal of what they saw in terms of technical education. They said that they saw there were many students in high school who really do not resonate very well with a four-year classical college education, and whose specialties and interests identify them as being much more satisfied and successful with technical education. And that indeed most industries, or many industries in their state, was desperately looking for technically trained people because they're just very hard to come by. They also felt that the people who were involved in this technical education were going to provide much better citizens for their local communities due to their enthusiasm for what they're doing and the community they're living in, and all those other things that go with it. As Uzi talked, Larry became more and more excited and said, you know, this is exactly what we're thinking about in terms of the Minnesota State College system. We believe, as you do, in all those tenets, and we would desperately like to make some kind of a sharing with you. We would learn a good deal about Omar projects that had to do with global thermal energy, and obviously, sociologically speaking, it would be helpful to us as well. And Uzi got excited because he discovered that we were not just teaching people how to do electricity and what welding is all about, but we were actually creating things that could be used in band instruments, in all different kinds of technical opportunities. And he saw opportunity to really expand what they're doing as a result as well. And so they decided that what they would like to do is to exchange somebody from administration, somebody from faculty, somebody who had a good working knowledge of the students, and somebody who was part of the collegial relationship with the industries in the various communities that are supporting and undergirding this kind of venture. To date, we have, as I said, raised about $450,000. Excuse me, I keep getting that number wrong. $4,500 from the district, and from our Rotary Club and other Rotary clubs, we've raised $3,250. So we obviously need about $1,200 more dollars, and we're looking for partners to help us in this enterprise. We plan to do a good deal of sharing with other clubs and with other organizations that are involved in this kind of procedure, as the two teams are here together in Minnesota and hearing something about what they're discovering and what they see as a future in terms of exchange of teachers, or perhaps exchange of students, or undoubtedly, as we're discovering with COVID, a lot of opportunity to exchange through technical fields such as videotaping and whatever. So we're excited about where we might be going and what this holds for our futures, and for having the two groups come together this coming year, which we would have done last year, except for the colleges both being shut down with the COVID situation. So that's pretty much where we are. As I say, we are looking for partners, and we're looking not for somebody to give us just $1,200, but we're happy to have whatever you can afford. If it's $1,200, that's great. If not, we'll keep on working. We do have some local support in terms of the Mayo Clinic Hospital Auxiliary, and I think that'll be very beneficial to us in the future.
Thank you.
That's our project, and hope you would like to join us in it.
Perfect. And so Phil's email address is in the chat box if your club has funds that they would like to contribute. And it looks like we can go back to Mary for Prior Lake Rotary's presentation. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you for being patient. Yep, I got it sent to Kyle, and hopefully he's going to start screen sharing. So there we go. Again, we're looking to have a district grant that will help us purchase a wheelchair with e-assist, which is a motor, and a trailer, and it's for Marilyn's toucan. As I mentioned, Kathy Haubrick's mom was a polio survivor, and what Kathy decided to do was bring free rides to senior citizens, not unlike her mother. And most of the time, these people maybe have never ridden a bike, or they certainly aren't able to do so anymore. So she arranges events with senior citizen living centers to provide these trike rides and social time for seniors, and volunteers for Marilyn's Toucan, it's called, and family members go along to help make it even more fun. So for example, if I was no longer mobile and Kathy's group came to provide me with the ride, Kyle and the kids could come on their bikes and ride along with me, and we could all have ice cream after, thanks to the Prior Lake Rotary Club. That's kind of the idea. Next slide, Kyle. This is a picture of what an e-assist trike looks like. You can turn a motor on when the person who's pedaling the trike needs help, but you can see the platform, and you don't have to take the person out of the wheelchair they're in and put them into anything. You just roll the wheelchair up onto the trike, strap it in, the rider gets on the back, and away you go, and you can talk in the person's ear, you can do whatever you want with them. And that's what we hope to purchase. Marilyn, this would be their 5th trike. We also heard from Marilyn that she was taking one trike at a time on the one trailer she had to each of the events. So she was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So we said, buy a trailer, Marilyn, and put all your bikes in there, and you can take 5 bikes all at once. You can get all your volunteers together in one spot, and you can give lots of people a ride. And then you can put all your bikes back in the trailer and take the trailer back to wherever you need to store it and you'd be done. So we're going to purchase basically what it is a snowmobile trailer. And Marilyn went through the time to take a bike out, and you can go to the next slide, Kyle, and actually make sure that it would fit. And you can see the little toucan there. That's their mascot. And this trailer will be able to have those bikes be 5 side by side in there. And they don't need a kickstand or anything. They stand on their own because they're trikes. You can go to the next one, Kyle. This is another view inside the trailer. And again, I got an email a mile long from Kathy telling me how she measured everything and made sure it all fit and whatever. But the toucan, you can see it's a takeoff on the bird, the toucan. And what her whole motto is of her organization is, when one can no longer ride, remember two can. And so that's the idea. And I want to show you a little clip. First of all, I guess we'll go to the project budget. It's $7,400 for the Trike with e-assist. We get it out of California. There's only 2 places in the United States that sell these bikes. They're typically made in Europe. And then the trailer would be from Ace Trailer Sales in Shakopee. And then we would have both a Rotary banner and a sign on the Trike and the trailer. And Kathy's committed to serving our area as well as the surrounding Scott County area. So the project budget would be just over $13,000. We're looking for about half of that from the district. Our club has pledged $3 grand. And so you understand the beauty of even being on tonight. Austin and I have already cut a deal on some additional reciprocal money. And so right now I need about $1,300 more from other clubs than what's already pledged in order to make this project work for us. And now I just want to show you a real quick video of what this looks like. And hopefully this works, Kyle.
Yeah, I didn't do the sound, so let's skip it for the, sorry, huh? Okay, hold on. All right. It sounds good on my end.
You can get an idea of what this is what this really is all about.
Each week at All Saints Senior Living, residents are lining up. This is unbelievable. This is like a dream for the community's oldest resident, 102-year-old Celeste. This is her first time ever riding a bike. Well, for others, it's a taste of what they've missed. I just know how trapped you sometimes feel when you're less mobile. Kathy Hawbrick started Marilyn's toucan bike service in honor of her late mother, who was diagnosed with polio when she was 19 years old. 3 years before she passed, Kathy found a specialized plan.
Enough?
Yeah.
Since you can't hear, sorry.
Yeah. But I think you can see the joy on people's faces, and it's really cool that you can bring other family members there to enjoy it with them. And we've pledged as a Rotary Club that we will be volunteers, both as riders and organizers for the events. And there's multiple senior living centers in Prior Lake and in the surrounding area. And we just want to really support what Marilyn's Toucan is trying to do. It services an area of the population that our Rotary Club has not really serviced in the past.
Thank you, Mary. Mary Haugen's email address is in the chat, group chat box. If anyone wants to contact her, reach out and let her know that your club is interested in financially supporting the project. I don't see any questions. So we are going to go to Red Wing's second district grant proposal, the Red Wing Food Shelf, and Helena. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Helena Kilbride. I'm a change and learning leader with the Red Wing Shoe Company. And while I am a newer member to the Red Wing Rotary, I've been a Rotarian for almost 8 years now, previously serving as the community service chair for the Minneapolis City of Lakes Rotary Club and a member of the visioning team for the district. So due to COVID-19, the Red Wing Rotary has had to cancel in-person meetings, including an upcoming charter banquet. And rather than save that money and use it for some social distance thing down the line, as a club, we came to the decision that, wouldn't it be great to do something for the community right now? We had anecdotally heard about challenges at the local food shelf and thought, well, wouldn't it be wonderful to provide some assistance? So we reached out to Dee Bender. She is one of the members of the board. She's very involved with the running of the food shelf and really learned about their current concerns and struggles with meeting people's needs in a rapidly changing and uncertain environment. And this included concerns such as an anticipated uptick in need, especially when the CARES Act funding runs out at the end of the month. People that are on unemployment and receiving the additional $600, when that goes away, they'll have more people that will then need the food shelf to help make ends meet. There's also concerns about some of these programs that provide meals for kids right now winding down. And then there's also problems with sourcing, both from the Channel 1 food shelf and actually purchasing of things like frozen meats and proteins, which are so important for providing healthy foods to families. So, these are unprecedented times, and our expectation is that as the economy returns to normal, some of the pricing and availability of products will right size and people will come back from furlough. So this is really providing targeted help to the food shelf in the middle of all these unplanned challenges right when they need it. So we wrote this grant proposal to help further extend what we could do for the food shelf, thinking that, hey, this fits right in with the district grant. It's a small scale, short-term project right when it's needed most. So to further demonstrate our desire to help, we plan to have a Rotary Day at the food shelf when it's safe to do something. And that's something our club has never done before. We would have a small group of Rotarians that would come in and they would help that day with packing the meals, loading the trucks. It's the first time we've ever done anything like that. I think that sometimes, right, we underestimate the influence of these little things. Local area food shelves like the Red Wing area food shelf with their efficient supply chain management capabilities allow them to get food to those who need it right here in our local community. So our proposed grant would provide ready cash to allow them that flexibility to respond quickly and meet all these unexpected challenges and needs. Getting district grant funding would allow the food shelf to provide even more flexibility and variety in those healthy food options, which we detailed out in our itemized budget. We're requesting a match of our club's $750, bringing the total to $1,500. That's what I have. Thank you all so much for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know.
Very good presentation. Very straightforward. I don't see any questions. And so we are going to move on to Rochester Rotary. Michaela, go ahead.
Looks like I don't have access anymore. Just trying to share.
Michaela, are you with us?
Yeah, it looks like I don't have access to screen. Oh, here it comes. Lauren, you can. Oh. Lauren, you can take it away.
Awesome, thanks. Well, hello, District 5960. My name is Lauren, and on behalf of Kagezi Healthcare Foundation and our Minnesota partnership, CAHFA Minnesota, I want to thank you so much for hosting Michaela and I representing Rochester Rotary. We're excited to be seeking funds to connect culture, people, and technologies using our teleeducation. So we'll start with what we're doing, then we'll move into the opportunity for funding to create outcomes. Each week in 2 small conference rooms, one in Uganda and one in Minnesota, community leaders meet virtually to learn from each other. Together, we make up CAHAFO Minnesota, an engaged group of leaders who facilitate community learning in a third world, first world relationship that began about 3 years ago when Michaela and I interned in Uganda. Learning with health education mentors, such as Rotarians Dr. Ashok Patel in the United States and Rotarian Dr. Geoffrey Angayo in Uganda. We're using technology as our catalyst for change via education, which is the key to transformation anywhere in the world. For us, education is especially important since non-communicable disease is the predominant cause of death in Uganda. With the technology Rotary can fund, we can bring co-education with learners at local universities in the United States and Uganda together for real-time education and problem solving in the fastest growing region of Uganda, with access to one of the largest refugee populations per capita in the world. So we're requesting a funding match to help us pay for phase 1 of a 3-part project, which will accumulate in a Rotary Global grant this fall as we begin to scale from low-risk teleeducation towards a whole telemedicine initiative. With better tech access, we'll be able to provide learners with access to research models, educational curriculum, community collaboration, and university involvement that will bring around 10 entities together, allowing real-world learning and change-making. That will also branch into additional CAHAFO initiatives, allowing opportunities for university students in Minnesota to engage. So with your support, CAHAFO Minnesota's teleeducation base could grow to serve all of Uganda with low-cost education and potential to build out into app development, medical device interfacing, and even smart city future design. So it's pretty exciting.
I apologize for that. With the current technology, we can only accommodate 8 individuals per meeting. And this means that the number of leaders and sectors being represented is extremely limited. Additionally, their current internet router does not have the capacity to broadcast live interactive meetings without frequent delays. We all know what technology delays cost. So meetings will continue to be held with these limitations until funding is available. Our ask is for a $2,150 match of funds that we received from Shark Tank to support the purchase of the proposed technology to sustain our efforts. The purchased equipment will be set up and maintained by CAHAFO's local technology. The impact will definitely stretch farther than the added participants. The benefits have the potential to spread through several large organizations as their meeting representatives bring back their acquired knowledge to their local organizations, which is something that frequently occurs in Uganda. Ultimately, we'll be able to engage in dynamic conversations and learning as we work to bridge intercultural communication and gaps across the continent. We would like to summarize with a note of encouragement, because without a doubt, funding phase 1 of our proposal to pay for technology infrastructure will connect the world through education, open opportunities for cross-sector collaborators, build community, and serve humanity, all in an effort to fight disease and poverty. And I'd like to leave you with one of our favorite quotes from our mentor, fellow Rotarian, and founder of CAHAFO. As budding entrepreneurs, we want to thank you for the chance to bring our dreams for partnership to fruition, and we open the floor for any questions. Thanks for your time.
Kayla, Lauren, there is a question. It says, when you identified the diseases they are working on, there was no mention of COVID-19. I assume there are cases happening in country, but they were left out based on when the materials were prepared. Is that correct? Are there, in fact, cases of COVID in Uganda, and will this address them?
Yeah, there are in fact cases, and actually we're meeting on a weekly basis right now to address exactly that and make sure that that's at the forefront of our minds right now. While that is very important right now, though, we are future forward thinking so that we are prepared to recognize and have curriculum surrounding all of these other top 10 areas of death. Also, these are the top 10 areas of death also right now because COVID has not yet increased as much as it has in other areas of the world. So we're actively working on it. Right now, that's our biggest focus in our weekly meetings. However, our long-term plan will evolve and change based on educational needs of CAHFO.
Thank you for that answer. Doesn't look like we have any other questions. And so we're going to move on.
It answered my questions, so thank you.
Absolutely.
We're going to move on to Roseville Rotary, North Korean Refugee Intensive English Program. Originally scheduled for Lynn Scott, but I don't believe she was able to do it, to make it to this meeting. So I get to talk some more. Brad Kirscher, Roseville Rotary. This is a district grant proposal from last Rotary fiscal year that was approved for to fund a North Korean refugee traveling from South Korea to Minnesota to participate in an intensive English language immersion education program here in the Twin Cities. Due to COVID and its effect on international travel as well as schools closing, the North Korean refugee that was identified and who was planning to come to Minnesota for this program could not do it. And so we're hoping that the student will be able to come in the fall and we'll be able to get the program done at that time. However, as a backup, I believe there's also a winter option, or I'm sorry, a spring option if the program can't start up in the fall. And so this being left over from last year's budget, I believe all the numbers were adjusted based on what amount was approved at that time. Roseville Rotary has agreed to put in $3,240. There's a $500 participation from another club. Looking for $2,335 more dollars from partners in District 5960 and requesting DDF from the district of $3,200. And again, the idea behind this is that somebody who grew up and was able to escape from North Korea, they tend to go through China and try to find their way to South Korea. However, when they're there, there is a big enough cultural difference where they do have trouble fully integrating into South Korean culture. And one of the issues that is a problem is their language skills. North Koreans speak a different accent or dialect of Korean than people who grow up in South Korea, and they also don't speak English well like most South Koreans do. It's part of their economy, and so North Korean refugees who end up living in South Korea don't do as well financially. English immersion program is a good way for them to learn English quickly, but it's also a way for them to experience American culture, something that they've been indoctrinated to believe is horrible torture to the poor American citizens who have to live in the evil imperialist country. And so it opens their eyes to a new way of living. They then potentially communicate with others back home, their family members back home, thereby spreading truth in North Korea that we're just not as bad as they've been told. So Roseville is looking for partners to help finance this. Lynn Scott is the point person. Her email address is in the chat group, and I'd appreciate anyone reaching out to her if they can help out. Any questions? And I don't see any questions in my chat box. So we are going to move on to South St. Paul, Invergrove Heights Rotary Club. And Mark, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. I'm Mark Zizik from the South St. Paul and Invergrove Heights Rotary Club, and I'm just happy to be here today. I've enjoyed hearing about everybody else's ideas and the things that they're hoping to fund. A little bit of context before I begin. We lost an important Rotarian in the last month, 2 weeks ago, Jill Lewis, who has been a school board representative on 2 different school boards and a really important member of our Rotary Club, passed away from a 2-year battle of pancreatic cancer, and she it was a struggle at the end. But one of the things that was most important to Jill was education and collaboration between member districts. And so with the South St. Paul Public Schools and the Invergrove Heights Public Schools, and also the Intermediate School District 917, we are asking for a matching grant of, the total cost of this would be $5,385. And the gist of the grant is to purchase these devices that will help us to open school and do it safely. And these are infrared handheld thermometers. They're called biotherm, and they cost $89 a piece. And we are hoping to buy 20 of them for all 3 of the districts that our club represents: South St. Paul, Invergrove Heights, and ISD 917. And we're anticipating, or we're hopeful that District 5960 can help us out and match us and pay dollar for dollar for what we're paying for, so that we can get 20 of them in each of the districts. The reason that 20, I know that it seems like a really big number, but imagine, day in and day out, when kids come to school, we need to make sure that they're safe. And the only way to do that is to make sure that we're not letting kids or even adults into our buildings that are not safe. And making sure that we can screen everybody for COVID-19 as the school year begins in the fall. So we're hoping for your help in funding this project through the district. There's no additional matching funds required beyond what the district can hopefully facilitate. And I just want to say to Margie and to Kathy and to Brad and to Kyle, thanks. I feel like you guys were trying to sort of land a plane on the deck of a really challenging aircraft here, as we were, or on the deck of a aircraft carrier while we were trying to come into this call. So I think you all did a great job facilitating the project and facilitating the phone calls. So again, our request is for just under $3,000. It's about $2,800 for funding thermometers that are handheld, can quickly scan a student or a staff member to make sure that they're not COVID positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. There is a question. It says, aren't all Minnesota school districts purchasing these handheld thermometers out of their regular school district budgets?
That's a great question. No, so one of the oddities is Intermediate School District 917 actually doesn't get the same funding that other districts get, because we're not a typical school district. And if we spend those monies on that, then there will be other things that we won't be able to spend the money on, like personal protective equipment, face shields, masks, gloves, cleaning supplies, that sort of thing. Thank you.
And there are actually two people who had questions about that budget. And so I think that answered both of their questions in one. But I'd invite either of them if they didn't feel satisfied with the answer, or I assumed incorrectly that the two questions address the same thing, to unmute and jump in.
Thank you. I can see a question from Craig and a question from Vlad, and I think that I think that my answer answered both of them. Thank you.
Thanks. Great. Thank you, Mark. And I don't see any further questions. So we're going to move on to Twin Cities Rotaract and Aiden.
Hi there, just one moment. Pulling up the slides over.
Aiden, we're not hearing your audio very well, although your screen sharing appears to be coming up. Almost.
I'm just having some technical challenges. Okay. So, can you hear me okay?
That's not real clear. I don't know if you're able to get closer to the microphone.
Testing. Is that okay?
It's better.
That's better.
Better? Okay. So, can you guys now all see the slideshow?
Yes, we can.
So.
Okay. Perfect. I will put it in that mode. And there we go. Yeah, so just to provide a little background about me. So my name's Aiden. I'm a 25-year-old, and I'm involved with Twin Cities Rotaract, and I'm submitting this project via St. Paul Rotary. So the project is tablets for seniors, and the aim is to connect our community. And to give a little preview, I'm going to go through the problem, the solution, progress, and the proposal. So firstly, with the problem, low-income seniors lack internet access, which is I view as a human right. And in 2000, Estonia was the first country to actually pass a law to declare it a basic human right. And here in the US, low-income seniors are the most vulnerable. You can see in that study, so those 65 plus, 27% do not have access to the internet or use it, and those with a salary of less than $30,000 experience lack of access at the highest rates. So additionally, in particular, seniors experience social isolation, which has been shown to be fatal in this study in the United Kingdom, where they tracked them and found that lack of social contact tends to lead to an early death. And obviously with coronavirus, social isolation has become even more of a challenge. So this project is meant to connect socially disadvantaged seniors in the Twin Cities Metro to community. So we've actually already acquired 10 tablets in a pilot project. So we got 10 of these tablets and pre-installed them with software, including video chatting tools and logic puzzles. And then once they're ready and preloaded, we label them and package them with brochures that also have information as far as how to protect their data. And then these tablets are distributed to seniors, and partner support staff conduct follow-up surveys at 4 and 8 weeks to improve processes and expand the project sustainably. So we've partnered with Gifts for Seniors, whose mission is to provide not just gifts, but the gift of our presence and a feeling of belonging to our elderly. And yeah, so we partnered with Gifts for Seniors because they have such a robust network, and they also have an understanding of who are most in need. So right now they have 6,200 plus seniors in their network. So our potential for impact is big. So here's a look at the financials. So our budget is $9,680, meant to distribute 146 tablets across 14 care facilities to impact 800 plus senior residents. And so, as you can see, so Twin Cities Rotaract has already committed the 657, so that was the initial 10 tablets. And then we're still looking for clubs in District 5960 to contribute $985 to meet the matching. Rotary Club of Minneapolis has already committed the $3,200 you see here. So we've already raised a decent amount of money, but we're looking for district funding as well. So to conclude, let's connect our seniors with the community. And here are a few testimonials from people involved in the project so far. I mean, we have a lot of excitement across our partners through Gifts for Seniors. And I'd like to also conclude with thanking Lisa Chesko, who I think had to hop off, who's the president of Twin Cities Rotaract and has been extremely helpful in pushing this forward, and Jire Mobamba, who's the treasurer and also has the contact at Minneapolis Rotary, as well as Valdi for his mentorship and everyone else involved. So that's kind of just an overview of the project. Are there any comments or questions? And I can go to video too.
Aiden, is there any an education aspect of this project for those seniors who aren't technologically savvy and aren't familiar or comfortable with the tablets?
Yeah, so as far as the education goes, so along with that, so that brochure has information as far as how to use the tablets, and it also has information as far as how to ensure you're using the tablet safely. So that is the educational material we provide. As far as people facilitating the educational piece, the tablets are provided to these institutions, and then they have their support staff distribute them. So the support staff is there to help them through any problems they might have as well.
Makes sense. Very good answer. You mentioned a video.
So actually, there's no video. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. I did mention. So
I guess I heard that, but.
Oh, no worries. I think you might have heard that I mentioned that the emphasis of this is on the video chatting. So helping them connect with family members who might be out of state or just more regularly. But yeah.
Aiden, thank you very much for jumping in and working on this project. It's a good project and a very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't see any other questions. So we are going to move on to White Bear Lake Rotary. And Mike, go ahead and tell us about your project. You're muted still.
Good afternoon, everyone. At this point, can someone give me a thumbs up if you can hear me?
We can
So I
see
know
your
it's
screen
working.
and we can hear you, although you
Brad,
did
can you hear?
a little bit there.
Pardon me, can you hear now?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to begin by just observing how inspiring this afternoon has been listening to all the presentations. I'd like to make special acknowledgement as background for mine, Brad's observation on the challenges that North Korean refugees experience even going to South Korea, and also Kyle's observations at the beginning about positive peace. This project is classified as Refugee Integration, offering a genuine people-to-people encounter to North Korean refugee immigrant families living in the United States through a week-long residential family camp program in Minnesota. Coming from and I'm trying to get my my presentation to move, but it doesn't want to move. As somebody observed before, my able assistant is going to try to make this go. Coming from a totalitarian regime, North Korean refugees arriving in the United States undergo unique adjustments. They're isolated from English-speaking mainstream society and rely heavily on the local South Korean immigrant community. The camp program will offer a variety of outdoor experiential learning activities, social and cultural activities, as well as opportunities to practice English with native English speakers, including Rotary volunteers. The model for the camp experience and curriculum is based on sound research and innovative work conducted during the last 25 years in Germany following reunification, in Israel between Israelis and Palestinians, and in South Africa post-apartheid. Because almost of 70 years of separation, the South, with a thriving economy and open democracy, and the North existing under a brutal totalitarian regime ruled by fear and deprivation, even with the possibility of political and economic reunification, openness and mutual understanding between ordinary citizens of the two countries will be critical for a peaceful transition. Sustainability. This grant application would provide seed money to fund the summer residential camp for 40 North Korean refugee families in 2021. To sustain this camp model, 3 nonprofits, White Bear Rotary, South Korea-based Better World, and St. Paul-based National Youth Leadership Council will apply for a major grant from the U.S. Department of State to provide comprehensive funding for annual camps for up to 7 years. Why Minnesota? Since shortly after the Korean War, Minnesota has demonstrated a deep level of civic hospitality and openness to Korea, hosting the first large-scale education assistance project to South Korea in conjunction with the University of Minnesota and the U.S. State Department. Minnesota also has the highest number of Korean adoptees in the United States, as well as a vibrant Korean community. Dr. Hae-suk Koo, who by the way is with us today remotely from South Korea, where it's about 5:30 in the morning, the initiator and coordinator of this project in conjunction with the White Bear Rotary, is a South Korean citizen and has maintained close ties to Minnesota and the Korean community for more than 20 years, beginning in 1998 with her graduate work at the University of Minnesota. How will Rotarians be involved? In addition to being the primary sponsor and providing funds for the project, the White Bear Lake Rotary will welcome the North Korean participants when they arrive in Minnesota and will volunteer during the camp. Rotarians from other district clubs are welcome to participate as well. We'll work with Rotary clubs where refugees currently reside, opening up the possibility of ongoing connections for their families. This summer 2021 residential camp will directly affect 40 refugee family members. We anticipate that the camp experience and learning will spread through informal networks to family members and friends inside and outside of North Korea. Our goal is that their message be one of understanding, confidence, and hope for the future, and that it ultimately will contribute to a peaceful reunification of North and South Korea. And I'm going to, there are a lot of things that didn't quite work here, but I'll stop the share, and I'll also add just some information that about our project. I'd be happy to take questions, and someday I might even show you the slides that almost worked.
Thank you very much. There is a question. It's just asking, has the federal grant been awarded yet?
No, the federal grant application, initial application is due in the middle of September. And the 3 nonprofits are working together. That is White Bear Rotary and the 2 other nonprofits to have that ready well before the September deadline. We'll know by December whether we're in contention for the major funding. The funding, as I've shown in the chat box, is for a total of $12,000, which covers the immediate costs for the camp experience for the North Korean refugee family members. The overall cost, which we need to raise for 2021 separately, will be more than that. But we're anticipating that the State Department of Grant, federal grant, will provide all reasonable costs to sustain after this first pilot year.
And there's another question. It says, will travel be possible with COVID-19? And I suppose looking out at next summer, if it's still around, is there a backup plan? Does it get delayed? What's your plan B if COVID is still an issue around this time, 10 months or 9 months from now?
I think it's reasonable to think that if camps are closed, if camps are open, everything would be done on the basis of whatever restrictions are in place. I know I'm on the general board of the YMCA, so I'm pretty familiar with that. But I think if it's possible, we'd run it in 2021. Certainly if it's not possible, there'd be some reasonable delay, but continue to work with, one thing that we could do in any case would be to work with Rotary clubs elsewhere in the United States, connecting them with the local North Korean refugee families.
Thank you. And you are looking for partnerships with other District 5960 clubs for funding, and your email address is in the chat box. They can reach out to you if they would like to help, correct?
Correct.
Good. I don't see any additional questions. So we are going to move on to our final presentation of the afternoon, Woodbury Rotary. Larry, go ahead and take it away.
Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For a number of years, the Woodbury Rotary Club has concentrated on doing things for the youth of the Woodbury area, South Washington County. And this project is going to be the mental health intervention for students in South Washington County. We were very fortunate in the last year to get the superintendent of District 833, which is South Washington County, with another of his administrators to be members of the our Rotary Club. And one of the things that they have sort of brought to our attention, and we decided to put together a grant to help them do it, is study the how to deal with students that have a variety of learning disabilities, but more importantly, where they have the learning disabilities are really behavioral problems. When most of us were going to school, that was just discipline. You went to the principal's office or the teacher's office. Many times, at least in my case, there was a paddle there. And that was it didn't matter what your background was and so forth. But now that don't work anymore. It didn't work then probably. But what the project entails is the district will hire 7 social workers and on their dollar, And what we would be doing is paying for the training for those individuals. And the 7 social workers in turn would also be available to train the trainers, which would be the staff and the teachers that are in the district. The amount of money that we're looking at about $18,000, a little over $18,000, and a big chunk of that is, or $10,000 of that is to pay for external assistance for those kids that that really do need help. And it would be easy to say, well, we don't pay that if their insurance don't cover it and they're not wealthy enough to cover it, then we're going to get a if you will, we're going to miss a whole demographic of people that need the help but can't afford it. So we decided to fund part of that, and once we do that, then the Rotarians will be involved simply because there's going to be a board or a group of people, I'll call them a board, working with Rotarians, working with the school board, and to see if there's any other areas that we can assist them. Not necessarily with money, but other possibilities. And right now we have about 20% of the club that's interested in being the first group working with the district, and I think there's at least 2 more that probably will join in. So it will be, and it's not going, they will not be involved in just giving money. It'll be time, whether it be mentoring, which is a possibility, that type of thing, giving personal service. Having been a teacher in a former life, sometimes just having someone that they can talk to that's not your teacher or the principal or your parents is something some of these kids need. And if we can do that, then we feel like that we've made a contribution. And then in addition to that, my hope is that we'll find, when we get ready to write the project report, that there's going to be enough statistical information that, number one, we can write something for the Rotarian, and number 2, possibly through the school system, they can share what they've learned with other districts. And like I said, the amount is just about $18,000, and Woodbury is going to contribute $3,000, and we're going to be needing an additional $9,000+ from other clubs or districts, whichever the case may be. And I'm ready for questions.
Thank you, Larry. Does anyone have any questions for Larry about his grant proposal? Anybody else curious if Larry spent any time at the principal's office when he was in school?
I share his wisdom with going to the principal's office. My question is, you said 18,000, and the Woodbury Club is coming up with 3,000, and 9,000 from other clubs or districts. So does that say you need 6,000 from the district grant?
That is, hold on, 9,000 from the district grant.
Okay, 9,000 from the district grant. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
And besides, as far as why I had to go to the district office or the principal's office in the 4th grade, it's none of your business.
You're just leaving it to our imaginations then. It might be better just us.
But you have to, your imagination has to go back about over 60 years. So I don't worry about today. The reason I went, as a matter of fact, I was doing something that our current president do on a very regular basis.
All right, well, thank you, Larry. That was our last presentation. I want to say thank you to all the presenters who shared today the details of their club's projects. Hopefully, all of you have been as impressed and inspired as I have by seeing the wide range of solutions that Rotarians have come up with to address the needs in their communities and around the world. And that's really the power of Rotary, is the ability for us to band together and reach out and solve problems in the world. A few housekeeping items for grant sponsors. The district grants team will be deciding the amount of district designated funds that each project will receive. And you should hear from Margie Horning, the district grants team leader, with that information next week. As a reminder, and this is very important, you cannot begin your projects until our spending plan is approved by the Rotary Foundation. We'll let you know when that is, but it should be sometime in July. There is obviously a bureaucratic process in place that we have to go through. It's there for a good reason. And one of the biggest rules that we have to remember is that we can't start until the Rotary Foundation has approved our block grant. Before we close this session, I'd like to ask our incoming district governor, Ed Merrick, to share his brief thoughts. Ed?
Thanks, Brad. And I'll share in my thanks to all the clubs coming forward with proposals. They're really a reflection of our district and its members doing good in the world. Also, thank you to the clubs that have joined in this afternoon to learn, listen, and possibly partner with some of our sponsoring clubs. As Brad was alluding to, Rotary works best when we work together. I gotta say, I was impressed with the projects that were focusing around COVID. You guys turned on a dime here. This thing came up and you were innovative, you were creative, you were thinking of, you know, interesting solutions to problems. I'm Aiden, wow, coming up with the idea of the tablets and eliminating that social isolation seniors tend to experience anyway, and in this time it's even worse. So kudos on that, and the rest of it. You know, we had community collaborations among community groups, servicing youth, seniors, education. Again, it was just inspiring. So I'm looking forward to seeing all these proposals being implemented in the coming year. And it's certainly going to be living up to the 2020-21 theme, Rotary theme, which is Rotary Opens Opportunities. Brad?
Thank you, Ed. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. Before we go, as I mentioned earlier, we will be sending out a document with the contact information of all the grant sponsors to everyone who attended today. And we'll put in there a summary of who they are, what their project is, what they're looking for, and how to contact them. We encourage all of you to work together and partner with other clubs in funding your projects. The more clubs that participate in a project, the greater impact we have on the beneficiaries of these great projects. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just with the people on today's Zoom chat. I'd encourage everyone who has a project that needs funding to go visit other Rotary clubs once they open up for in-person meetings, or join their Zoom meetings and talk about your project. So thank you for your time today. Thanks for your effort on your projects, and have a great weekend. So go ahead and